Illinois 106, Iowa 94. That was fun.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another post-game edition. A fun game to watch of Locked On Illini. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to do this after each and every game of this Big Ten tournament and of March Madness, the actual tournament. Hopefully, all the games are as entertaining as the one we just saw today. Before I get started, today's episode is brought to you by TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your expert. Imagine scoring 94 points. Imagine shooting 55% and losing by 12 points. Hat tip to the Hawkeyes. Iowa they executed the one game script that they had to have a chance of winning. Iowa did. But unfortunately for them, the worst possible matchup for Iowa is Illinois. You saw why. Illinois themselves shoot 54% from the field. They shoot 12 of 26 from three-point land. And I'm telling you, when Illinois shoots 12 from 26 from three-point land, when they shoot 46%, they're not going to lose. And more importantly, when they out-rebound the opposition by 17 rebounds, they're not going to lose. It's just a wonderful execution by Illinois today, at least offensively. I joked around in the Discord, which, by the way, if you're not in the Discord, the link should be in the description, that it was an ingenious move by Brad Underwood and the Illini to just let their offense play today and rest their defense for Maryland tomorrow, because offense is really all they needed. 49 points in the first half, 57 points in the second half. And you know what? Despite that, Iowa did not let you relax until maybe the last couple minutes of the game. Iowa just, again, shooting lights out. I joked around about it on social media. Peyton Samford doing his best Larry Bird impression in the state of Indiana. It was one of those where, it's like, oh, don't tell me this is going to happen. It happens every game, seemingly. At least once a week, some guy's going to go off against the Illini, and Peyton ends up with 30 points on 11 of 20 field goals, 8 of 13 from three-point land. Just, an incredible showing. I want to hear you guys' MVP. I think it's pretty obvious who the MVP has to be today. He had clearly his best game as an Illini, but there's so many options here. You have Kylan Boswell with 24 points, Will Riley with 21 points, Tommy Avicic with 19 points, Tre White with 22 points. This is what you call an all-around effort. This is what the type of game that you need to keep moving on in these sort of tournaments. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Let's get the party started around here. We got about 52 people. All right, let's go. Good start to the evening. Again, 35 from 6 out of 65 from the field for the Illini. It was one of those where at halftime, 49-45, you could tell. I had both teams having to score 70 this game for a part of a parlay. Thank you, FanDuel. And that was done with 11 minutes left in this game. It was just simply one of those, you sit back. I wish I wasn't a fan of either team, because this is the type of game you sit back on your couch with the scotch in hand and just enjoy just the back and forth action. But unfortunately, it seemed like every time Illinois made a run and they were able to get it to double figures, you'd have a stupid, costly Illinois turnover, which on the other end would lead to Samford sprinting full speed and launching, just stopping out of nowhere and launching a three-pointer, and it would go in. And, they never really made you able to relax until 3-4 minutes. I want to give a proper farewell to Fran McCaffrey. I don't know which side I'm on this one. A lot of people are like, Fran, how can you get ejected? That was like a 4 out of 10 from when it comes to Fran outbursts. especially that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. Like, that was very moderate. And I am shocked that the referee ejected Fran McCaffrey with that second technical so quick. I know Fran needs to be smarter and needs to just let it go. But, dog, this could have been your last game. This could have been, I mean, your team needed you. I think you were down 9 points at the time, and 9 might seem big, but with the way Iowa was shooting, you're just talking about a couple possessions. But, he's out of there, but I don't think it really mattered too much. This is just one of those games where Illinois took care of business, as they should have. They were 9.5-point favorites right at tip-off. It opened up at 10. And it got bought down to 9.5. They ultimately win by 12 in a game where most of us were pretty comfortable winning, or pretty comfortable thinking they would win. I think I'm speaking for most of you. Most of you guys, after the comment section of the previous episode, all said, "Oh, I hope we face Iowa. I hope we face Iowa. They're just an easier matchup for Ohio State." Problem is when you play Iowa and they shoot the way they do, that can be trouble for a lot of teams. And you saw it against Ohio State. It's just, unfortunately for them, they went up against the one team that can out-offense Iowa. And that's what they did. I don't know if Illinois wins this game a month ago, I'll be honest, with the way we were shooting. I'm not sure that happens. But I've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks now. The team is finally healthy, guys. The team is practicing together. And I'm not even saying finally healthy, but Morez is hurt. No, Morez is back now. And Morez had 4 points on 8 rebounds. 4 points, 8 rebounds in 12 minutes. Welcome back, Morez Johnson. Doing exactly what you need. And the thing is, like, guys like Morez and Tommy Visich, they're going to eat up a team like Iowa. Iowa doesn't have the size to stop them. Tommy, I joked around, if Tommy played Iowa every single game, he would be an All-American. Finished with, in 28 minutes, he had 19, 10, and 6. Again, Iowa just had no answer. Will Riley carried that first half. He ended up with 21. There's so many options for, MVP of this game. I think there's one clear-cut one, which we'll get to in a second. But that's it. Chalk it up. That's game 1 under the books for Big Ten tournament. Illinois takes care of business. Things are going to get a lot more tougher tomorrow. A Maryland team that's well rested, and let's just be honest, they've had Illinois' number the last couple seasons, and they beat Illinois earlier in the year. Obviously, that was without Visich, so that factors into it. At least we'll have both Morez and both Tommy to go up against them this time around, and it should be a good matchup, especially if Illinois shoots the way they do. It's one of those where I picked Illinois to win the Big Ten tournament when I didn't expect that at all a week ago. I didn't even expect doing that 5 minutes before I started recording, but I came up with a scenario which you can throw out the window because I said Rutgers would advance a couple of rounds on the shoulders of their 2 lottery picks, but they're gone. So, it looks like Purdue's going to have a nice, easy path into the next couple of rounds. But, all we can do is focus about Illinois. And Illinois today, showed why they're so dangerous. And I know I'm repeating myself. This is the 4th game in a row, but it is what it is. Like we all watched that game, right? It's when Illinois shoots like this. By the way, Illinois' best player didn't have a good game again. He was probably their 5th or 6th best player, wearing an orange and white jersey. Kasparis, 28 minutes, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 0 assists, and 6 turnovers. Just not a good Kasparis game. Guess what? You didn't need it today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the actual players right after this. There's going to be 2 ads, just a little heads up. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. And you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Me personally, I'm spending way too much money going out to eat. I got 2 kids. I'm tired. It's easy to go get food from the fast food restaurant. I know I got to keep that in check. And with Monarch Money, instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor makes eating well easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh and never frozen and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. The convenience is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/lockedoncollege 50 off and use code LOCKEDONCollege 50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LOCKEDONCollege 50 off at factormeals.com/lockedoncollege 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Once again, it's time to give the flowers to the veterans on this basketball team. Kylan Boswell and Tre White, 2 guys for the 4th game in a row now, just kind of just leading this team, doing exactly what winning players need for a basketball team. And it's no coincidence that Illinois right now looks like, I think Torvik has them as the 4th best team in the country during this 4-game winning streak, and they're looking like it. Kylan Boswell, to me, clear player of the game. He was unstoppable on offense. He was notably just hustling his butt off in that first half on defense. He finishes the game with 24 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, only 1 turnover in 37 minutes. Kylan, I've been saying all season long that I think Tommy Avicic is the most important player on this basketball team. And while in a lot of ways I do still believe that, I'm starting to think more and more that you'll know how good Illinois played in any particular game by taking a look at Kylan Boswell's box score. Because when he's engaged, when he's making smart plays, and let's be honest, he had a couple plays today where you just kind of put up with it. You roll your eyes like, oh, Kylan, what are you doing? But when he plays like he did today, like when that first half against Michigan, you don't need Kasparis to be Kasparis, because Kylan himself is just a big body point guard that other teams just can't guard. Kylan can guard 1 through 5 when it comes to his defense, but when Kylan's shooting 10 for 14, Kylan Boswell 10 for 14, guys, he made, I think they said on the network, 26 3-pointers this year, and he made 4 today, 4 out of 7. It was a running joke in the Locked On Illini Discord that, hey, when did Kylan Boswell become such a good 3-point shooter? And someone responded with literally just now. Where has this Kylan been all year long? I'm glad he showed up now. Don't get me wrong. Good timing. I'd rather have this Kylan in March than I would in January or December when the games don't matter nearly as much. But again, not that you can expect this sort of 24-7-3 line every game, but if he plays like this and keeps the defense honest like this, I don't know if Illinois can be beat. In particular, if they shoot like this. Obviously the game plan was the game plan. You knew this Illinois team can out-rebound Iowa. They didn't last time, though. Iowa actually out-rebounded the Illini in the previous game. So that's why it shouldn't have been taken for granted. It's something that I did want to keep an eye on, because I remember Brad had brought it up. Hey, we got to rebound better. And, I believe Morez was missing that game. And you see what happens when Morez comes back. But let's just talk about Morez Johnson. He checks into the game, and I believe on his first or second drive down, he grabs an offensive rebound off of a KJ miss and puts it right back in. Again, I've said this. Illinois can win games without Morez Johnson, but in order for Illinois to reach that ceiling that we all talk about them having, you need Morez Johnson on the floor. You need him just being the guy who's just dirty, who does the dirty work, who doesn't mind pounding against other bigs and just going up there grabbing rebounds. 8 rebounds in 12 minutes, if this box score I'm reading is correct. The best offensive rebounder in the Big Ten is back. And when this Illinois team gets second and third chances, they're just going to be very difficult to beat. That's what this whole offense was built around. I know Tyler Underwood gets a lot of hate in here. I can understand some of it, but you see what Brad and the staff, what they saw in the offseason. They saw Kylan Boswell shoot 40% from three-point land last year. They didn't know he dived to 24%, something like that this season. But then you see today, 4 out of 7. You see today, look, I've got a season ticket holder who's at the game today. He's not an Illini fan. He's a Pacers season ticket holder. And he just said that of all the teams that he's watched all Big Ten tournament long, Illinois is noticeably bigger. The length that Illinois puts on the floor in each game, he said that's the first thing that he noticed compared to all the other games that he's watched. And that's what the plan was. Brad was putting big guys who can shoot threes because they'll rebound. And that's what's happening. And Illinois now that they're healthy, has won 4 games in a row. What do I say about Tre White, right? I've joked around about this before. I feel like I should be Tre White's agent. If you're related to Tre White, I'm sure you send him these Locked On episodes every game because of how much I praise the dude. I think he's an amazing college basketball player and he's vital. Again, 22 points, 5 rebounds today in 30 minutes, 7 of 11 from field goal range, and 2 of 3 from three-point land. Again, if he shoots like this from three-point range, then it's no question you want Tre White back next season. Now you're questioning, of course you want Tre White back next season. But there's an episode that I'll probably wait till the offseason to talk about it, where there's a situation where Tre might not come back. Even if he wants to, Brad may decide it's not a good fit. But that's for a future episode. Forget that. Right now, the vibes are good. Let's get the likes up, you guys. 98 people in here and 39 likes. The math is not mathing, folks. Is it time to talk about Kaspersky again? Let me just 30 seconds. Just non-existent. I don't know if you played, just bad pass after bad pass. And I know the announcers were talking about, hey, the intention was good. The idea was nice, but we've been dealing with that all season long. Kaspersky today, 1 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from three-point land. Finished with 10 points because he was able to go to the free throw line, 7 of 8 from free throws. But, he played 28 minutes, 6 turnovers. And again, in the Discord at one point, I was like, just take the ball out of KJ's hand and give it to Will. Because right now, I just trust Will Riley more than I trust Kaspersky. Speaking of Will, 21 points today on 33 minutes. 21.7 rebounds and 5 assists for Will. Will continues to be the best player on this basketball team. And he has been for a couple weeks now. All season long, I've been like, hey, who's going to be the Robin to Kaspersky's Batman? I think the Batman might just end up being Will Riley. And I'm not gonna be too down on Kaspersky. Let me, correct myself. If Kaspersky comes out tomorrow and scores 22 points and 7 and 5, that's when we need Kaspersky, right? This game showed you that we didn't really need a great Kaspersky game to beat Iowa. We had a great collective team effort. It's going to be harder for Kaspersky to go 1 for 6 tomorrow and the Illini come out with the victory. Because Maryland's a really good basketball team. They're not a deep basketball team, but they have a starting 5 that I would argue rival out. It's just as good, if not better, than the one that we have. And they're a bad matchup. Again, we've already lost to them. So this is not a shocker to anybody. Maryland is it seems like the sleeper team that everyone's already predicted to win this Big Ten tournament. But it's going to be an important game for the Illini because you beat Maryland, and guess what? Now all of a sudden, that talk about the number 6 seed. Heck, Joe Lunardi had Illinois as a potential the last number 5 seed. That's only going to happen if you beat Maryland because that's going to be another quad 1 win, high quad 1 win. And, I think that's what you need. I know some people were asking me or texting me in the Discord earlier, hey, does this cement 6 seed? I don't think Iowa does, because Iowa's not that good. But, a win against Maryland tomorrow, that absolutely will. Whether they can pull it off, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the spread is going to be once that comes out. But I see the comment section going crazy. Let's talk to you guys right after this. This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now, Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy, all so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. I wanted to thank you all again for joining me for this live post game. We've been doing it all season long. And I'm about to say something a little somber right now. But I hope you guys let's enjoy this victory. Because there's a chance this could be the last one of the season. So that's why it's the post-game victory celebration. Get off your hot takes. Be in as good of a mood as you want to be. Because Illinois plays a very tough team tomorrow in Maryland. And then who knows? When the NCAA tournament happens, who knows? Especially with the way this team is playing. Look, this team, the whole season has been a roller coaster ride. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows. So we're at the point now, it's not the regular season where it's like, oh, ho-hum, another victory. No. Every victory we get at this point, I'm cherishing and I'm embracing. And I think you all should too, because it's been a fun season, and hopefully we do keep going. But you don't know how many wins are left. Illinois has now gotten to 21 wins for the season. It's been a fantastic ride. Hopefully we continue. Why not? Why not win 3 more in this Big Ten tournament, or was it 2 more? 3 more in this Big Ten tournament, and continue this run to March. It's been a fun season. Justin says, I want them to beat Maryland tomorrow so bad I can taste it. It's going to be, I can't wait. There's going to be a lot of really good ball games tomorrow, you guys. Some guy says, let's go Illini, triple digits, baby. Yeah, they could have scored 120, I feel like. Brad Underwood, with about 90 seconds left, kind of called off the Dogs, which he usually doesn't. But I think, it was a smart play, because anytime you give Iowa more possessions, they do what Iowa does, and they just make 3-pointers. And that's exactly what they did today. 11 of 24. CSC says, ILLINI. Rossi, nice to see you, sir. Got my like, Sonny. Jason says the same thing. Hit the like button. That's right. Everyone, let's listen to the boys here. Jason says, let's go. Didn't need defense. We just showed how many weapons we have. Yeah, you're talking about 5 guys who scored in double figures, 4 of them scoring over 19 points. There's just not a lot of teams in the country that can match you when it comes to that type of firepower. Again, the issue is, does Illinois does the firepower show up constantly? Again, the rotation's gotten small. You're talking about 7, 8 guys who played today. Okay, 8's not too bad. Greg Gibbs Lawhorn, he played 10 minutes today, but I hardly noticed it. 0 for 1, 0 points, really just 2 personal fouls. But Hummerkaus had a solid defensive game. It was very notable. A lot of us saw that. A lot of key rebounds. I'm going to talk about Ben a little bit more this weekend. The NCAA officially pretty much announced that if Ben Hummerkaus wants to come back next year, he can. So that's going to be a conversation that he's going to have with Brad Underwood, about him possibly coming next year. We'll find out. Eric says, go Illini. Paul asks, how did Iowa lose 15 games? Yeah. Let's see. Eric says, bye Iowa. Bye Fran McCaffrey. The Philip says, that game against anyone else, Iowa wins. Exactly. They just ran into a bad matchup in the sense where we can out offense Iowa. We can out offense anybody. especially when they play like this. Again, we scored 106 points, and our best player was 1 for 6 from the court. CSC says, White and Riley look awesome playing together. You know who else Riley looks awesome playing next to? Tom Slavovicic. When Tommy and Will Riley, like that little give and go plays that they have, it happens 3-4 times a game where Will Riley just ends up with layups. It's a thing of beauty. Caitlin, nice to see you, says that felt like last year's team. Incredible offense. You're absolutely right. Ross says Boswell 2, great game, loved his drives and his 3. Mike says, I think we get a 5 or 6 seed for sure. I think we need to win tomorrow. I don't know if today's game mattered for seeding purposes, if we're going to be honest. It's Iowa. They're probably quad 2. Philip, if you're in the chat, you probably know. They're probably a quad 2 team. This game didn't matter. It's whatever they do from here on out can only help, which is the good thing, right? If Illinois lost today, if Illinois lost to Iowa, I think you can be talking about falling to an 8 seed. But I don't think at this point, any game moving forward, it can only benefit them. I don't think a loss is going to knock them down any seeds, but I do think a couple wins can certainly get them up to 5. Jason says co-MVPs. Sure, not bad. Mike says, not bad. We had control in the second half. St. Dominic's chiming in, says, nice win. Okay, hard to appease St. Dominic, so him giving us a little credit. But Sweet 16, at least or bust, then here, done this. Okay. I agree, but I think context matters, St. Dominic's. I get what you're saying about Sweet 16 or bust, but, if you're talking about that as a standard for the program, I absolutely agree. But this was a complete rebuilding of a year. And in this rebuild of a year, they've won 21 games. Let's see what happens. If they lose in the second round, third round, we can have that conversation then. But it's not Sweet 16 or bust for me this year. I think that should be this. If they do this back-to-back years, next year, this year they don't go to Sweet 16, and next year no Sweet 16, fine, I'll understand. But it's been a very difficult situation that Brad Underwood has been put in this year. It was his choice, don't get me wrong, but that's just my opinion. It's not Sweet 16 or bust. Can give MVP to any of those 4 of the 5 starters. Exactly. Max says, I think Will Riley was the MVP. He certainly was in that first half. And I said this earlier, and I've said this on this very show the last couple weeks. He's our best player now. He's the one guy who he's such a bad matchup with his size. He's an NBA player playing at the college level. What's he, 6'8", and sometimes he's 6'9". There's just not many college teams out there because you need to have essentially another NBA player to be able to guard Will. Because, earlier in the year, Will was just standing around the three-point land and shooting three-pointers, and they weren't going in. Now, shooting the three-pointers is just kind of like the last resort. Now he's attacking the rim. And when he attacks the rim, the confidence is there. He's just incredibly hard to stop. Mike says 21 wins helps us get a higher seed with 8 or 9 quad 1 wins. I don't know if it counts for the conference tournament. Jason says, I want a championship. I'm telling you, Underwood will get us there. I hope so. St. Dominic says, but I don't like Purdue or Iowa, so anytime we beat Iowa in basketball, football, I love it. Serena says, total team win. So excited about Morez being back. Huge impact in tournament play. If you take threes and don't make them, to have a guy like Morez to get those rebounds is huge. Good sign for the team that KJ had an abysmal game that they still score 106 and second most points in tournament history. Exactly. And they could have broken that record if they wanted to. Again, Brad called off the dogs at the end. They absolutely could have broken several records. This game, I think, broke records for combined totals. Rossi says KJ's ball handling, he gets the second most valuable player for Iowa after Sanford. Okay. All right. Jason says, and let me tell everyone, you watched 3. Sanford made Boswell was in his jockstrap and he was just shooting. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those where it was like an NBA jam, right? That's what I had flashbacks to, where you just run full speed, hold the turbo button, just stop on a whim and shoot a 3 and it went in. What are you going to do about that? There's nothing you can do. Just tip your hat to Sanford, and let's just be grateful that Illinois is talented enough and has the firepower enough to stop that team, because a lot of teams out there would have lost to Iowa today. And I want to establish that. Like, Iowa may not have a very good record, but they can score, and they can score with anybody. And when you score or shoot the way that they did, again, 55% from the field, 46% from three-point land. It doesn't matter if you don't have big guys. You know what? Threes count more than twos. You come into Locked On Illini for those math lessons. Coleman says, we need a rematch versus Michigan State. Oh, boy. Serena says, would you start KJ with a stat line like that for the next game? Absolutely, of course. He's still, if he's not your first best player, he's your second best player. He carried this team through up until January. You know, it was literally KJ and a bunch of like people we were waiting to catch up on. And KJ, even on an off day, you know, had 10 points. Again, today wasn't a great game, but you know, he's still valuable, and you want the defense to be focused on him. Rossi said the good thing about him not being the best player is our whole starting lineup would be the best player on any other team. The way they're playing like it, sure. Tre White's earning himself a lot of money this offseason. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, that's the one thing I'm worried about. You know, I know our NIL funds are going to be, we're going to try to max out Morez and keep him around. But between Morez, Avicic, probably Boswell, Tre White's going to want a nice bag too. And he's honestly deserving it the way he's playing. More of your comments right after this. All right. Pizza Hut Fight Club. Yep, that's what we call our Discord. Make sure you're in if you're not already. Philip says, plus 17 rebounds and 20 assists. This isn't a great shooting team, but it's an okay enough shooting team that when you let them shoot 2, 3, 4 times in a possession, more often than not, it's going to go in. Tre White's a junior. He can come back. Oh, yeah. No, I know. Mike, for me, it's the Tre White situation is one of those, does he want to come back? He was in the doghouse. Let's be honest. None of us understood why. But he just simply was not playing anymore. And in my opinion, if Morez hadn't gotten hurt, he might have been done for the season. We might have seen the last of Tre White outside just those garbage minutes at the end. But in a way, I keep talking about maybe that was the blessing of Morez going down. Nobody wanted Morez to go down, but Brad had no choice but to play Tre White. And now he's turned into, a third best player, if not higher. Matthew says, second most points scored in the Big Ten tourney game ever. That's what happens when you put Iowa and Illinois. By the way, I'm going to be sad that Fred McCaffrey's not going to be coaching anymore. You know, those battles with those classic Iowa teams from a few years back, the Garza, Kofi Coburn, I hated Iowa back then. You know, I'm not that I need another reason to hate Iowa. I know most of us Illini fans do. But, you know, Fran's friend. You know, like if nothing else, he produces fun offensive basketball teams. And they play a style that's fun to watch. And you saw it today. Jason says, Kylan has that passion that makes you want to jump through a wall. Absolutely. And let me take a second to talk about that. We saw all the drama, that social media drama that Kylan was involved with over this past week, where he reached out to, or he, you know, a lot of detractors this season, and he was just doing a temperature check, right? Who were calling him out for, you know, some of his struggles earlier on in the season. And obviously, Kylan's turned his season around. And you had some adults who make some very poor choices in responding to him, like professional writers, people who do what I'm doing, you know, probably my age, going after what's a 19-year-old and, you know, just talking about his previous stop at Arizona. But what I love to see was just the way Illini Nation came to back up Kylan. And it wasn't even Illini Nation. It was everybody. It's just like, hey, dude, you're a grown-up. Why are you clapping back at a 19-year-old kid who, yeah, you know what? Turns out he had a little fun in his previous stop at Arizona. But you know what, Kylan? He's matured. And as Jason said, he's got that passion now. And he's one of the leaders of this basketball team. We would not be here at 4 straight wins without Kylan playing the way he has. Dom says, Tre White's not coming back because Brad totally... Okay. I'm not sure how much so that I can say. Caitlin says he's going to be fine. He's been good all year. Going to break out of his slump any day now. I'm assuming you're talking about KJ. I agree. Mike says, I think Tre will come back. I would love to have him. So basically the gist of a future episode is going to be, we know Brad Underwood wants to shoot 3-pointers, right? The problem is we know Morez is coming back. We're pretty sure Boswell's going to come back. So is Brad Underwood going to be willing to financially invest in 3 guys in the starting lineup? Morez, Kylan Boswell, and Tre White, who can't hit 3-pointers. Now, Tre White's turned it around over the last couple of games. So if he makes the 3-pointers, it's a non-factor. Forget it. There's no more discussion to be had. But Kylan Boswell had a good game today. but does he revert back to 24%? I think that's going to be the conversation I'm having. I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't need to tell you guys how much I enjoy Tre White and how much I want to see him come back. I'm just saying I understand that there's going to be a conversation. Mike still says, I think we get a 6 seed, but if we don't, we don't. KJ doesn't go to the NBA. No, come on. Mike says he wants KJ to leave regardless. No, KJ's going to the NBA. I think just in the mock draft earlier today by ESPN, he was at number 6. Again, this is one of those things where I think a lot of us got so spoiled by how great he was earlier in the season that we're looking at it from a fan's viewpoint and not an NBA GM's viewpoint, because Kasparas is still a very, very good basketball player. He just tends to disappear on occasion. But still, like if you told me I had unlimited NIL funds and I can only bring back one player on next year's team, it would still be Kasparas. And that includes Will Riley, that includes Morez Johnson, all those guys. Kasparas is a star. Okay. Like, yeah, he struggled a bit lately, but he was the sole reason Illinois was winning games in the first half of the season. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. 105 of you in here. I appreciate all of you joining me. I'm going to do this again tomorrow. Okay, we're going to do another post game tomorrow. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. I think we're 1 subscriber away from 2,230 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed already, I do this content every day. That's game day, non-game days, weekends, everything. I think in this calendar year, I've only missed 1 day, and that was only because a child was sick and I wasn't able to knock out an episode. But Illinois wins, record-breaking game, a fun game to watch. Hopefully tomorrow's when the stress really starts. I hope Illinois is going to be ready for it. I'm expecting big things from KJ. Tomorrow, this chat's going to be talking about that's the KJ we've been missing. That's why he's a lottery pick. Either way, I'll see you all tomorrow. ILL. Love you guys.